How's it going, guys? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to Chuusotsu. Ah, it's good to be back. My voice. Oh, I can speak again. This is the first official day I feel like I am 100% better. Knock on freaking wood because I don't want to get cursed. So, what is going on in here? Last time, we've been having some issues with Arara and Arue. Gosh darn it, those names. Seriously, could anybody actually tell them apart if they weren't like right next to each other, like in casual conversation? Well, maybe someone who actually speaks, you know, Japanese, possibly. Not for me, my heathen ears. Anyway, so now we, oh, hello microphone, you are not close enough. So, we've had some difficulties. Arue, we're hoping, can give the letter to Arara to help them kind of get back to the same page again. Currently, right now, she is running. I can't remember exactly why. I think last night she was kind of realizing that she just kind of needs to figure things out. So hopefully we're going to see a bit of a resolution to that, though it doesn't really feel like we're going to, so, you know, we'll see. It's just, I feel like they actually would get along really well if they could just not drive each other crazy. But, I don't know. Maybe it's what the problem is, like, they are kind of too similar in a way. They both love to live in a pretend world. However, Arara feels ashamed because of that, while Arara, like, finds comfort in it. And that just means that they prioritize it differently. So when Arara gets more upset, she retreats more into her world. And Arara, whenever she gets upset, she forces herself to not do that. Well, kind of. She also relies on it. So it's a weird relationship. But anyway, let's jump in and figure out where she's running to. In the morning. Oh, it's Koiro. She's just probably doing her jog. Koiro did her morning training a bit later than usual. She had overslept. She didn't even go patrolling last night. She just couldn't fall asleep. Other kind of... Sorry. She kind of has a point here. Itching my leg. She has a point that she doesn't feel superhuman because she kind of buries all of her mistakes or sore feelings underneath her facade. It's her barrier, it's her way of dealing with stuff, but at the same time, it kind of hinders her in her ability to communicate. Oh yeah, that's right, because the worker like picked up her journal and was like mocking her for it. Even though he like said like, "Oh, I didn't mean to make fun of you." It's like the stupidest line ever. She's like, "Jeez." Koiro's the only one that can see. Her heart felt like it was being squeezed. I don't know, they just won't talk to each other. Maybe like force them into an enclosed space for a time. Maybe that would help. This wasn't a fight, it was something entirely different. They weren't arguing face to face, pointing out each other's faults or shortcomings. They simply evaded each other. It's really a tough position to be in. I'm not sure if I have answers for this. I've seen this implode relationships before. Probably the most common example I can think of is post-breakup. When two people break up, especially if they ran in similar friend circles, you get this sudden rift, and it's like you feel like you're kind of tugged both directions, so you're not sure what you're supposed to do. Neither of them uttered any decisive phrase like, "I don't want to see you ever again." So how was she supposed to approach the problem of fixing their relationship? Koiro was overwhelmed with worry, but kept on running, and as if she was running away. As a result, she didn't notice the two girls in front of her. It's gonna be those two again, isn't it? Ah, yep, it is. She tried to avoid them, but failed to make it in time and ended up bumping against her shoulder. The dumpling-shaped girl next to the high schooler she bumped into exploded in rage. Did I mean her hair buns are dumpling-shaped? Because she doesn't look dumpling-shaped. I'm dumpling-shaped. Young's cheating and she gets to rise easily, doesn't she? I bet if someone sneezed in the wrong direction, she'd be freaking out that someone's gonna cheat, take away her girl. Ugh.
こらユング
Freud.
ダメじゃない。
だってこいつがお姉様を。
ごめんなさいね。この子私のことになると見境なく人に噛みつく癖があるの。
I don't think she minds. It's probably one of those things she's like, oh, it's adorable. She's protective.
ぶつかったの
Okay.
私の方だからごめんなさい。
Both of them bowed their heads.
それじゃ失礼しますわね。
These two, they're so important for some reason, but I can't fathom why. Wrapping themselves around Freud's arm, Young glared at Koiro as the two walked off.
お団子の子がちょっと怖いけど仲良さそうな人たち。あれでもあの二人どこかで。
How would you forget them? They're super memorable.
それでユング
This again. Seriously.
昨日買った水着は
These two, like, they're gonna be super critical at some point because we follow them everywhere lately.
サイズはぴったりでしたけどやっぱりトラ柄は恥ずかしいです。
That actually is a bit of a problem. Underwear, fine, get whatever you want. I mean, that's usually for close quarters and special people. Swimming suits, however, you tend to go somewhere that's kind of public. So, but hey, you know, maybe the whole idea of seeing her squirm and be embarrassed is part of the appeal.
そう新歓合宿が楽しみ。新入生のみんなもきっとユングの水着姿にドキドキしちゃうわ。
Oh, man.
本当よ。
でもお姉様の選んでくれた水着ですもんね。それは嬉しいです。
Alright, this is something less and less like an actual swimming suit, more just of
お
underwear.
姉様の前でしかつけませんけど。
Aww.
あ、思い出した。
Well, there you go. A flashback before the time leap, in other words, the previous week. It was when they brought Kokoro to the Don Queen. Or is it Kui? Is it Don Kui? Because like it's like if it were English, it'd be Kui. And it doesn't look like Japanese works. I don't know if they do the QU combo. So it's probably Don Kui. They were two girls looking at the tiger print swimming suits. She also remembers when she spotted them at the McDonald's eating the same French fries.
お姉様。
ユング
Smooch.
相変わらず仲良さそう。アルエとアララも。
Oh, curse you
だ
and
ったらいいのに。
swear. I ever like it's stupid because like I'm never gonna make merchandise, but if I ever did, I think curse you hand is gonna have to be one of them, right? Anyway, close as ever. Yeah, the Koiro. So innocent. But you know what? At this point, I want Arara and Arare to be like that. They'd be adorable together. I don't know if Arara swings that way. Arara absolutely seems to be that case, but Arare does not seem like it. Blah, that didn't make sense. Being too innocent is also a problem.
でもお姉様と海にお泊まり旅行っていうのは楽しみですけど、願いを叶える人でっていうのがうちはどうも。願いを叶える。
Oh snap! Koiro's gonna believe it.
願いを叶えるなんて科学で扱えないものは受け入れられない。
はい、うちらの精神分析部もよく同じような文句をつけられる分野ではありますけど。
Ooh, that's actually kind of touching on a really interesting subject. Before I was a physics major, I actually was thinking about going into psychology. Love the field. However, I discovered I would be terrible at it. Because while I have no problem listening to people, I internalize people's problems. And I do enjoy that, like, being able to listen and talk with someone and help them, like, feel better about various problems that they face. But at the same time, I take it all internally, and I did some interviews with some psychologists to kind of get a feel for what the job would be like, and they said the most critical thing, especially when you're dealing on a daily basis with lots of people, and a lot of them in very, very tough positions, whether it be trapped in their own thoughts, considering things like suicide, or just dealing with highly stressful situations like witnessing crisis, loss of a loved one, that kind of thing. It's like you have to be able to separate yourself between your job and like your work and your home. And I can't do that. So I decided to go towards the sciences because I figured, well, I'd always sold myself short on my capabilities, and I kind of went through a change and decided to go through physics because I always wanted to do physics. I didn't think I was smart enough. Turns out I didn't really need to worry about that. Well, not quite yet. I'll go back to school soon. But anyway, that's a whole other bunch of ramblings. Long and short of it is that psychology is considered a pseudoscience by some in the scientific community because there's no way you can actually justifiably, truly test for it in a scientific way. The best you can do is ask people to make interpretations and to explain things to you. But there's no way we can actually know what they're feeling, and so there's no scientific way to develop true bases besides doing surveys. And we don't know how accurate surveys actually are. And so a lot of people say, well, you can't apply a proper scientific method to it, thus it isn't science. Others argue it is science because we go through very methodical scientific steps as much as possible. But whatever. Continuing on.
そうね。でも青い海に眠る伝説なんて私は乙女チックで素敵だと思うわ。見つけるだけで何でも一つだけ願いを叶えてくれる人で
She talks so slow.
とっても植物的でロマンチックだと思うわ。本当よ。
I read everything she's done. She's not done.
見つけるだけで何でも
If it's that easy, I found starfish before. I went to Hawaii. We found several starfish. I'm guessing it has to be a certain color or something. And well, you know what? Urban legends are urban, and they're legends, so whatever.
そういう伝承自体はともかくうちらの活動内容に合ってないっていうか。
あら、そんなことないわ。考えてみて、ユング。人手探しで何を見るか、何を科学するか。人手を探すレクリエーションの中で新入生の行動原理は達成における過程の悲願の差は
Interesting. So, Koiro obviously is going to really jump on this. And, hey, I mean, she might convince the girls to go to the beach. That'll be interesting. And you know what? Ironically, I doubt the starfish will do anything, but maybe getting them both in a vulnerable position where they kind of feel like out of place, but together, might be what it actually takes. So Koiro, I inadvertently solve her problem without knowing that how she did it.
そうか。もしかしてパレードの法則ですね。さすがお姉様。これは実験なんですね。今回の親睦会からすでに新入生の分析は始まっていて。
Now, Pareto, I've never heard of a Pareto principle, or if I have, it's been too long. But it just simply sounds like it's based on like marking changes in behavioral markers over a period of time. It would appear that a pre-calculated experiment was going to occur at this club's get-together.
願いの叶う人で。
On the other hand, another sort of high-level calculation was occurring in Kodiro's mind. To the beach, the sparkling sand, the blue ocean, the clear boundless sky. Is that going to be her imagining them skipping together into the sunset? The two girls both enjoying themselves. Holding hands, they are smiling from ear to ear. They watch the sunset as they chat. Oh, and they dance by the campfire to the tune of some classic American folk song. Really? What do they consider American folk songs over there? Because an American folk song, I would guess, would be like an old-time Western type of sound. Like banjos and stuff. Maybe bluegrass is like a modern version of what I would consider an American folk song. Of course, they could just be meaning country music, because country folk might be translating into Japanese as the same word. And in that case, it'd be like Sweet Home Alabama, or, oh shoot, I can't think of the name of it. I don't know, I'm not much of a country buff.
これだ。
Oh yeah, QED. Her Chuusotsu brain had made no errors in its calculations. Oh, fetch. Whoosh. Catching up to Freud, Koiro quickly held up Freud's hand in both of hers.
ありがとう。あなたたちのおかげで。
Now, Yoon's gonna freak out. Yep. Chomp. She bit her? Fetch, what? She's half savage, and she's a scientist. Well, I guess that honestly that wouldn't be too surprising in some ways.
とっても痛い。
Koiro, you're so chill.
ユング、誰にでも噛みつくのはダメって。
The sooner one acts, the better. Even as she was experiencing Yoon's bite attack, the words of Koiro's trainer flashed through her mind.
泊まりで海に行こう。
Yeah. She said that immediately after delivering Koiro's groceries to her room.
なして？それは、
Because Koiro has not had a day to decide what to do. I want you and Arara to become like Yoon and Freud through an experience at the beach. She decided to say that. She felt that ideas based off other people seemed to lack in sincerity.
だって、海は楽しいよ。
I like how her reason to say that isn't because she wants to be subtle, like most of us would be. It's because she feels like because it wasn't her original idea that it would like lack oomph. So, oh, Koiro, you're adorable and very, very straightforward and without guile. Without guile. That's a good way to put it.
いや、楽しいかもしれませんけど、課題の期限まで今日を入れて残り3日なんですよ。そうだけど、ほら、アルエとアララはリーダーやったけど、私はやってないよ。だから、今日は私がリーダーの日。
I think it's a very good idea. She held her ground.
そう言われましても。
She glanced over at Arara. She was silently putting away the groceries.
そうだ。3人より4人の方がきっと楽しいよ。
That's kind of a cute idea.
心も。
Although Koiro might have to work. Although, like, once again, I'm still not convinced that Koiro's work isn't something not great. Oh, Fetch, she's here?
完全に心はいけないですよ。だよね。学校があるもんね。
See, they all assume she has school. I don't think she does. Arara kept looking straight at Arara. But Arara made no response. Silence. She wouldn't even look at her. They'd been like this ever since they left the bowling alley.
それじゃあ、アドバイザーにも意見を聞いてみようか。
We haven't seen Hollow in a while.
いいんじゃないっすか？やった。アドバイザーのお墨付きだよ。いやいやいや、今ものすっごく適当に答えましたよ。
Well, doesn't that technically mean she's giving her authority?
だって、フォローには関係ないっすもん。どうせいけないっすし。
That alone might be enough motivation. She slumped over.
フォロー、ごめんね。残酷な相談だったかな。はあ、すっごく気持ちいいんでしょうね。
You are far too intelligent for a simple computer. Sadness.
はいはい、そこ。あんまりハチスカさんをいじめないでください。というか、どうしてアルエお嬢様が反対の立場なのか理解不能っす。泳げないのは当たり前だとして、
Wait,
バディに自信がないからっすか？
She can't swim. That's a bit of a problem.
全然違いますよ。まあ、どっちも事実ではあるんですけど。
So those two are problems, but they're not the main problem?
じゃあなんすか？課題の期限のことなら気にするだけ無駄だと思いますけどっす。
Oh, so you really don't think they can do this?
と言いますと？だってお嬢様たちのシンクロ率今 2% っすもん。
Oh, touch the screen, making a display number 2%.
数値化できたの？ちなみに1回見るのに10万ポイント必要っす。
You just, jeez, this capitalism at its finest right here, jeez.
無許可で浪費？はあ、もう残り2万とちょっとじゃないですか。まだ何もしてないのに1回しか挑戦できなくなっちゃった。
She collapsed, her mind completely overwhelmed. Go to the beach.
もうダメ。
You obviously need this. でもあるね。これって逆に。だって、フォロの言う通り、2% じゃどうしようもないでしょ？
今まで通りの方法じゃ
Koiro is going to be the savior of this team by far. She's been probably the most useful person in the trio.
いや、どうしてそこに直結するのか説明が足りな
Go
す
to the beach!
なるほど。コイロお嬢様の考えもあながち悪くないかもっす。
Oh, AIC. She's dropping puns now. She nodded approvingly.
いいっすか？あららお嬢様も思い浮かべてみてくださいっす。
Oh no, what are you gonna say now? Hello.
輝く砂っす。青い海があるっすよ。どこまでも突き抜けるような高い空に、ほら、手が届きそう。
Probably gonna rain.
日が暮れたらみんなで料理なんていかがっす？めっちゃ荒切りの野菜にちょい水っぽいカレーがなぜだか極上のうまさっす。
That sounds good.
夜は肝試し、キャンプファイヤーもいいっすね。
Fireworks?
遊び疲れたらそうっすね、ロッジで雑魚寝でもすればいいんじゃないでしょうか。
Sounds awesome. Yeah, look how happy they all look.
ほら、やっぱり思った通りっす。
Synchronization rating 67%. Dude!
爆上げしてる？
めちゃ楽しそうとは思ったけど。
まあ、まだ全然足りないっすけど、そういうもんなんすよ。シンプルにいくことっす。
Arare felt like she'd gained an important hint about synchronization. Yeah, hopefully you pay attention. There was an underlying principle that brought her no end of grief. Chuusotsu are unable to resist fun.
それじゃあ、あともう一つ。聞いた話だけど、とある海には見つけただけで願いを叶える人手があるんだって。
それマジで？
うん。でもそんなお宝は簡単に見つからないだろうけど。
少年漫画のような冒険が必要になりますね。
In a boys manga? A shonen? Is that I'm really showing my colors. Like, I should know this stuff by now, but I lose track of words. I don't know. I feel like I hear the word shonen just used in general, but doesn't it mean like a boy themed action like story? Isn't that really what that means? I don't know. It'd be helpful if I knew what the alternative was, but I just don't know. I'm sure someone out there is going to quickly clarify for me. Oh, Arara's going to start drooling. Excitement! Their excitability exponents pushed in like tourists from neighboring countries and brought up all the space in their hearts.
で、その海ってどこの海？
Arara's all set.
どこの海だろう。
Koiro gently tilted her head to the side.
その伝承のある海はホロのスーパー検索によると埼玉湾の様子ね。近いっすよ。Google 先生が言ってるから間違いないっす。
Wait. Google Sensei. Hey, first off, that sounds awesome. Secondly, they've been avoiding like trademark words for a while. Are they using Google now because it's like become a general term and you can't trademark it anymore?
ねえ、あるね。あらら、行こうよ。
They looked at each other. The two of them had been pushed apart. But right now, their excitement was building.
ね、行こう。
Come on. Yes! It was done and deal. She's the linchpin for the... Yay! It's the beach! Woo!
などと、今までの私だったらはしゃぎ回っていたところでしょう。
You should be running around like that. What else are you gonna do? Just stand there and just, think deep thoughts?
いいですか、二人とも。これは良い機会です。今日から2日間、シンクロ合宿としゃべってみましょう。はしゃぎ厳禁、エンジョイメントダメ絶対ですからね。
It's like she learned nothing.
でも今ある
Oh, I love
海
Koiro.
って真っ先にはしゃいでたよ。
Oh, she did say it out loud.
抑えきれぬワクワクがボイス化して。とにかくロケーションが変わってもやるべきことは変わらないんですから、シンクロクリアを忘れないようにしなきゃ。 やるべきこと。
Aww. It just seems so fitting that Koiro and Arara would have like adorable swimming suits, and then Arara would just have the school swimming suit. That could be adorable too, but it just seemed very fitting of their personalities. She stepped out into the sand while talking to herself. Oh, she had the doll still. She made an expression like this. That, wait, why couldn't you draw that? Run to the water! The white sand felt like burning rocks. I have to admit, in my head, I would totally do that too. I'd say, curse you, son! She glared straight up into the sky. That wide blue sky. As if copying the fish in the seabird swam gracefully through the air. Up there was a sun that looked a lot like it had a hole of light going through it. This was an artificial sun. One of these had enough energy to maintain summertime weather in the area within several kilometers. Wait, so it really has an artificial sun? It wasn't a form of light fixture, but the girls didn't really know how it worked. Did they possess technology like this on the American continent, far across the sea? In either case, thanks to the artificial sun, Saitama Bay was able to recreate summer even in the middle of spring. Oh, okay. It was roughly a 10-minute walk from Saitama Station. The beach stores and lodging facilities were both open year-round. For your next weekend trip, please come try Saitama's beach. I feel like I'm reading like, go there now, people! Interesting. Artificial sun. That would be crazy. That'd be a big lamp. I mean, is it like an orbit or what? She felt regret. She had acted cold and distant due to some unknown annoyance. She felt like she had compounded her own sins. Yes, you have. Stare. She stared right at Arara. She trembled all over. Oh, fetch, here she goes. She stuck out her hand, pointing straight at the ocean. Is she about to try and take out the sun? Or the fake one? She equipped a duck-shaped swim ring. To the water! Yeah! Yes, she handed over a shark boat. Splash, splash, splash. She took off into the waves. Maybe Arara... Could the problem be jealousy? Like, it would be an odd one, but she just might not be aware of it. She spends her whole life trying desperately to pass the tests that she needed to take. She spends her whole life desperately trying to prove that she's worthy by pushing aside, forcing aside all the things that she tries to think are fun. Like a manga, her drawing aspirations, everything. She shoves it into a little corner and only like dips into it occasionally and feels guilty every time she does. And then she meets Arara, who is completely open and completely just does what she pleases. She's willing to reach out and just do all these things, living in this false world and continuing to like perpetuate it for the sake of in Arara's idea, her enjoyment. So maybe she's angry because Arara is free to express herself and to just do what she wishes, and seemingly doesn't care about consequences of those actions. Where Arara is spending so much time and effort suppressing herself in order to try and achieve good goals. And that could be what the problem is. Like, it kind of seems obvious that that could be the confrontation, but maybe that's what the underlying issue is. Because Arara, when she's alone thinking about Arara, she feels guilty for what she's done. But when Arara starts behaving in her, like, odd way and talking about the poison pulse and, like, apostles and all that stuff, that's when Arara gets really upset. And I think it's because of that inner jealousy. Her brain was overheating.
アルエも行こう。
She stretched out her hand. Koiro, you're the hero.
ちょっとだけなんですからね。
Hey, hang on. That's pretty freaking adorable right there.
冷たくはないけど。えい、お返し。
Koiro, you're awesome.
気持ちいい。
Ah, Arare splashed on the water, enjoying herself. This is another good one. Like the beach episodes always make for great, like just still shots. Oh man. Is she throwing her doll at her from the shark boat of doom? That's cute. The other beachgoers were fairly nondescript, so despite the place being somewhat packed, the girls didn't notice at all.
二人ともそんな時期では世界を取れないです。
ちょっとサメさんで乗り上げてくるなんて反則です。レッドカード出しますよ。
There's no rules to a splash fight.
今のは1000ある召し上ぎのうちのほんの一つに過ぎないという。
何ですかそのインチキ出版社は。というかなんで水に入ってまでぬいぐるみを持ってきてんですか。キャラ付けのためにびしょびしょになっち
Come
ゃった
on,
んで
guys,
す
you're
よ。
supposed to be having fun. Stop fighting.
アルエさんはメガネは体の一部という名言をご存知ない？
Interesting.
メンヘラ巻きの包帯とぬいぐるみは体の一部ってわけですか。はあ、いいでしょう。そのナメップ後悔させてあげますよ。
Oh, fat choke router!
アララが転覆した。
どうしたんですか。そんなものですか。世界救世主とやらも大したことないですね。
Those fighting words. Those fighting words. Yeah, this is pretty adorable.
ところでアルエさん、一つ聞いても。
なんですか急にマジ顔で。
その水着は一定層を狙うメタ的視点で選択したもの。
Freaking calling her out on it.
違いますよ。これしか持ってなかったんです。
スタイル的によくお似合いです。さすがアルエさん。ローリングストーン。
Remember, don't lewd. They're young. Don't lewd.
あなたにだけは言われたくないですけど。
Aww.
藤崎さんこそよく似合ってますよ。波打ち際のあららちゃん9歳って感じで。
Oh, that's cold.
アララの場合は成長中だから。歴史上の先進国だって初めは途上国からのスタートだったから。
Sure.
それを言うなら私だってそうですよ。今に先進バディを手にしてですね。
And Koiro. She's like, oh, you'll be fine. Then we'll be like, shut up!
二人とも落ち着いて。親からもらった体のことで。
No lewd. No, it's just whatever. Do your. We're moving on. We're moving on from this.
アルエもアララも。
藤崎さん。
アルエさん。
Oh. They're having a truce. They gave each other a fist pump.
第三世界同士でいがみ合うのは不毛の至り。
Oh no.
先進国の余裕ぶった上から目線をいつか泣きっ面に変えてやりましょう。
4月19日。
The Flash Alliance.
内地同盟が結ば
Flat
れ
is
た。
justice.
でもなんだろう。思ったより何事もない感じ。もしかしたらわざわざ私が何かし
They
ない
haven't
でも。
quite made up yet. This is a good step in the right direction, though. As Koiro contemplated all this, whoosh, the two of them quickly retracted their joined fists. Arara stared at the ground. Looking aside, Arara floated on her shark. The rift between them seemed even deeper than Koiro had thought.
やっぱり私がどうにかしなきゃ。
It's a good start, though. Good start. Alright.
ビーチバレーしよう。
With 3 people. She was holding a ball she had borrowed from one of the beach houses.
スポーツで気持ちいい汗を流せば 気分も変わるはずだよね。
If it's me, that tends to just make me more disagreeable.
私も昔そうだったし。
She reminisced about her own past. About the day she spent with her trainer.
コートがあるけど対戦形式
No, if it's gonna be just the three of you, it might have to be Koiro versus these two. And I bet you Koiro will win.
チーム分けはどうするんですか？
チーム分け。
She counted on her fingers. It seemed that 2v1 was unavoidable.
じゃあ、私対アルエたちで。
Match start. Oh, that sounded painful. Oh, that also sounded bad. They were slipping all over the place.
スポーツにならない。二人とも笑顔が消えちゃった。こういう時は。
She thought hard. She thought in silence. And she thought with passion. What could make someone happy? What could bring them joy?
ご飯？
Not a bad start. She has decent ideas, but she comes to them in
白い
odd
ご飯
ways.
食べよう。
なんでわざわざこの炎天下で白ご飯を。
アルエ、今日は私がリーダーの日だから。
She could get like a watermelon or something.
チョイスに悪意を感じる
Yeah, I'm a little curious myself. They ate the beach house, then ate some more, then more. As their side dishes, they went for some satamabe sukudani.
おじさん、おかわり。
Jeez, you can eat a lot apparently. It's no fair! Coming right up, have a good taste of the ocean's bounty.
アルエさんが白ご飯と格闘しながら白目を向いている
アルエ、大丈夫？白ご飯嫌いだった？
いや、嫌いじゃないですけど、さすがにきついですよ。37度の容赦ない日差しの下で白ご飯尽くしは。
Good. Using the proper system for checking temperature, not the stupid one.
アララもしんどい？
正直球児の海坊主を逆恨みで自殺しそう。
そっか。私は銀シャリ尽くし嬉しいけど。わかった。二人の分まで私が食べるね。
Dang. Gobble, gobble, gobble. She shoveled in enough rice for the three of them. Halt. Uh-oh.
ほ
Uh-oh.
っぺがリスカみたいになってますけど、もしかしてハチスカさん、喉の奥がイカ飯みたいにご飯ぎっしりなんじゃ。
アルエさん、背中を叩いて。
We're gonna lose her.
はい、ごめんなさい、ハチスカさん。
Oh. Bulging like a snake swallowing its prey, cutting her throat, finding a lot of the rice through.
今ので死んでたら死因はお飯なの？
Yep, you'll be on your tombstone. Death by rice. It was just too much. She tilts her head.
まったく、小色さんは天然でクレイジーなことを。
And so they spent a few enjoyable hours together in that fashion. Alright, sunset. Time to be around the campfire. Burning logs. The fire burned away the darkness of the night. It was 8:30 p.m. The season had a quick change of heart, shifting from midsummer to chilly spring. The artificial sun wasn't in operation during these hours.
あるえ、こっち焼けたよ。
It'd be interesting. Could you imagine going to the beach in the winter with that? Like in the daytime, it's like glorious and sunny like summer, but then at night we'd get down to freezing temperatures. What would that do to the wildlife?
ありがとうございます。それじゃあ早速。
You surprised. She reflexively pulled her hand to her mouth. She was eating shish kebab. Oh, that's shish kebab. I've never seen it written out before. I don't think I've ever seen it written down. So, beef shish kebab cooked on a campfire. They were being sold at the beach house.
味付けは塩だけだけど、なかなかの美味。
Beef shish kebabs. An easy meal doable even by Chuusotsu. Despite its simplicity, though, each juicy bite was filled with flavor.
そういえばさ、ちょっと前にマックに行ったよね。
ああ、今回の初日。
覚えてるかな？
覚えてますよ。バーベキュー味の探求に行ったんですよね。私たちの単純な舌じゃナゲットソースが至高の答えに落ち着きましたけど。
アララは今でもあれが至高のバーベキューだと思っている。
Come to America, I'll show you a better way.
私は違うかな。
ほう。どうやら小色さんはマックの味付けが複雑なサイエンスのもと成り立っていることを知らないらしい。
そうだね。わからないかも。だって何の味付けもない白ご飯だってとっても美味しく感じるから。
See, that's something I can't do. I can't just eat like plain white rice. I at least have to have some soy sauce, but I love having some good spices to it.
だから私にとってはこのお肉の方がバーベキューっていうのにふさわしいかな。
And it's funny because like by the definition of barbecue back home, this would be barbecue. Because that's all it takes. It's like you cook over like on a griddle. Like open fire, that's a perfect example of what you could consider barbecue. It'd be the more simple version, but it's effectively the same. Ooh, do they have s'mores in Japan? Do they know what those are? If I ever go to Japan and I get to go meet and make friends with people there, I'm absolutely, if we ever go to the beach, gonna teach them how to make s'mores. That's assuming I can get my hands on chocolate graham crackers and marshmallows. However, it's not too difficult to make homemade marshmallows if you can get the right ingredients. So I might be able to do that if they don't have like normal marshmallows that I'm used to. Chocolate shouldn't be too difficult. It's the graham cracker I'm not sure about. But I'm sure that they've got them there somewhere. I mean, there's enough American culture that made its way there through the years that they probably have something akin to s'mores. It was just beef stuck on a stick and roasted over a campfire. For flavoring, they sprinkled a bit of salt and pepper on it.
私もそんな感じかも。流されるわけじゃないけど。
なるほど。塩と胡椒を振った肉がバーベキュー味。
あ、でもそれだと札幌ポテチのバーベキュー味とは
Yeah, barbecue chips are
全然
weird.
違っちゃうね。
いいと思いますよ。お菓子と違っても。
札幌ポテチやナゲットのソースはバーベキュー味じゃないのかな。
Get it. Depends on who you ask.
いいえ、きっとそれもバーベキュー味なんでしょう。
Sparks flying up from the fire disappeared into the night sky. The smoke from the burning meat began to slightly thicken. The sound of endless crashing waves filled the night beach. The scenery mirrored human society itself. No matter how beautiful it was, to any nearby onlooker, it was simply a background. Kind of like us, it's a background. In the past, Arare was part of her classroom's background. She was no different from chairs and desks. But in reality, every living human being was part of someone's background. Just like how one's beloved neighbors became the background of the city once they left the confines of their homes. People could never view the world through the exact same lens. Such was the law of the universe. That's actually talking about psychology before, there's actually a term for that. It's called the other mind problem. Remember I said that the trouble is they can't do like true like scientific method style discovery in psychology. Like you can kind of do it a little bit, but it's hard to really truly verify. Like you can verify like measurements when you do things in mathematics. Like you work with hard measurements and you get hard results, and that they do like flow between each other. But psychology is different. It's hard to get true answers because you never know if someone's actually telling you the truth, because we cannot experience what it's like being in their shoes. No matter how hard I try, I can't understand how you think, and you can't understand how I think. We can get approximations, but it's all about interpreting things. Like, for instance, what does the color green look like to you? Like, you can't really tell me. We can agree something's green, but we don't know if what my brain interprets as green looks like the same green that your brain interprets. Despite the fact it probably is the same, we don't know because we can't experience it with each other. And so, it's the same barrier you run into here. It's the fact that everybody has their own view, and everyone else is kind of background characters. I mean, have you ever done that? Have you ever, like, I don't know, like, it usually happens for me when I climb, like, a hill, and I look over a city, especially the city I grew up in. It wasn't that big, but it was big enough that it would be bright and lit up, and you could see it from these, like, mountains that were close by. And you could stand there and you could look down, and I could see, like, the lights of cars moving around and stuff, and, like, it would hit me. It still hits me sometimes. I'm like, every one of those lights represents at least one other person who has as much dreams and thoughts and wishes and fears as I do. They are going through their life trying to, like, fulfill their dreams, to try and get what they want, to provide for themselves, their families. They want to have certain things. They've had to turn away from certain things. They have struggles. They have, like, romances and loves and hatreds and things. Like, they have all of that. The same complexity that I am. Even though I'm never going to ever meet them. They're still people like I am. And that's kind of... Sometimes we really lose sight of that. Everyone else feels like NPCs to us sometimes. Like person behind the counter at the checkout line, you know, checking your groceries. It's hard to forget that they probably are striving to work so they can pay off their bills and eventually maybe move on to a new career. People don't just stay where they are. We're dynamic. We try and move and find our place and burst out. And it can be so easy to forget that detail. That they're just as important as we are. That they have dreams just like we do. And also to recognize that we are, for a lot of people, very unimportant. that we are nothing more than a passing face that they'll never see again. That makes no impact on them. Some people make big impacts on large groups of people, but the majority of us are never going to be that, and that's okay. We shouldn't all be like that. But, I don't know. It's worth thinking about. So if just a challenge. If you haven't already done that, go to a place where you can climb somewhere high and look down over a city, maybe one that you're connected to, and just take it in and try and imagine how many of those people are just like you. If it's anything like what I've experienced, it'll open your eyes. It'll help you understand something precious. Anyway, as for synchronization, it was a different concept compared to resonance. A difficult feat in a world where one couldn't make observations the same way as someone else. So perhaps at this time, Koiro may have been an outsider for trying to build an oasis in the desert of their hearts. Harmony and dissonance were simply two sides of the same coin. Much like how waves ravage the land across the globe, yet also unite people under a single banner. Wars occurred because people desired peace. People felt despair because they retained hope. In a way, what? Heraclitus is? Like, I was saying instead of Hercules, it's Heracles? Yeah, I think that's what they're going for. But it sounds, I've never seen it spelled like that before. Heraclitus' logos could be seen as the same as a roasting barbecue on this fire. Background and addressing. Hope and resignation. Philosophy and introspection.
バーベキュー哲学完了ってとこかしら。
She looks so happy.
何言ってんですか？突
私も意味がわからなかった。
単なる代弁よ。彼女少しお眠みたいだから。
また理解が遠ざかるようなセリフを。
They put out the fire and returned to the lodge they had rented out. Thinking on it, this is the first time the three of them had slept together in the same room. Jamal's plan was to go searching for the wish-granting starfish. After making plans, they quickly fell asleep. The only one still fiddling with her smartphone was Arara. Despite realizing this was a bad habit, she once again visited the anti-unmarked message board. Some stranger had pulled up the name and picture of some other person and had started using them as a punching bag. It was 11 p.m. and the board flared up with the liveliness of a casino. She could hear the pleasant sounds of the ocean waves and the wind rustling in the trees. Viewing this private internet police station of sorts in a place like this felt almost comical. After uploading the pictures they took of the ocean and the beach during the day, she put away her smartphone. She flopped onto her back and stretched her hands and legs out sideways.
楽しかった。
Yeah, it was pretty cool. They had fun. This was her first time at the beach, and the first time she'd ever gone away anywhere with someone for leisurely reasons. It was the first time she felt upset with someone, as well as the first time she wanted to believe in someone. To Arara, indeed to Marisugawa Arara, all of this was an entirely new experience.
明日はうまくいくといい。
She fell asleep. Arara kept the letter she couldn't hand over in her bag by her pillow, always close at hand. The night passed on. The next morning at sunrise, the weather was sunny and clear as promised. It was never raining around the Santama Bay area. It was said that the artificial sun was designed to disperse any rain clouds. Alright, so they can control weather. Jeez. And so on this artificial summer day, the Chuusotsu girls proceeded with their starfish hunt.
さて、普段の海生物は一体この海のいずこに生息しているのか。
誰かに聞いてみるっていうのはどうかな。
No way that could go wrong.
通行人に質問をするのはアララの得意分野。
Oh no.
大丈夫かな。間違っても使徒とか聞かないでほしいんだけど。
使徒？
Huh?
やっぱり。
She was dead on the mark.
質問を取り下げ、今のはパブロフッタだけ。改めて謎人での住みかを知っているか。
To be fair, Arara is bold. You mean the starfish of wishes? If so, I heard it lives in the shadow of a rock formation.
一瞬でクリーチャーの有力情報を入手。
こうもあっさりだといよいよ話に信憑性がなくなってきますね。普通の人手に客寄せの都市伝説みたいのを後付けしただけとか。
It's very possible. No, there's a picture of it too. Here, look.
え、本当ですか？
It was a picture of a severed hand. Looks like a person's hand, but these types of creatures apparently do exist.
そうと分かっても、キモ。だってこれ肌色だし、指とかあるし、切断面に骨らしきものが見えてるじゃないですか。
血みたいのは体液なのかな。
Are we sure it's not a hand?
魔界生まれの生物は独自の進化を遂げている可能性があり、
Or maybe it was just baked into radiation or something.
アララはがぜんやる気が湧いてきた。
I'm sure you are.
これ見てどうし燃やすって、嘘でしょ。
早速装備を整えなくては。
You're like spears?
もやし、この辺りに武器屋は。
Bean sprout? By brain sprout, do you mean me?
あらら、別に退治しに行くわけじゃないよ。
目的を失念。人手型クリーチャーを捕獲しに行く。
She started to walk off.
っていうか、本当にボーリング場前でのこと忘れちゃったんじゃないの？未だに気にしてるのが私だけだとしたら、なんか嫌だな。
I think she is.
はあ、引きずるな。
ここか。
Wait, what? You already found it.
いやいや、ハサミ橋じゃないんだから、そんな石の下にいるわけないでしょう。
ここけ。
あらら、お土産屋さんには売ってないんじゃないかな。
Really easy taking those strokes.
ここ？
何人の水着引っ張ってんですか？
That's a different starfish.
ただ平野が広がるばかりであった。
Aww.
しまいには棒状のもので殴りますよ。
ここなのか。
She's so excited.
いい加減ちょっと休憩しません？
テトラポット、いい線いってるかも。どう？
大量の船虫が。
Ugh.
今こそ救世主の出番ですよ。退治してきてください。
こやつらは救世主が出向くまでもない雑魚。古文かかる海ゴキどもを殲滅せよ。
Oh, they're adorable.
かわいそうだからそっとしておいてあげたいな。
喜ぶがいい。 試練に応えた子分に3級聖書ポイントの進呈だ。
3 savior points.
あなためちゃくちゃ本気で怯えてたじゃん。
人伝でいなすぎ。課せられた？
She muttered that while swinging around a stick. Seemed she was tired of searching.
キッズ級の冷めやすさですね。
So do you!
でも、もしも万が一人手が見つかったら、流れ星くらいの感覚で何か願ってみてもいいかな。
She thought about it. A single wish immediately came to mind.
やり直し？
She shook her head.
もう、また現実逃避。そうじゃないでしょ。そうじゃ。みんなは何を願うんだろう。
In the end, they searched until noon but couldn't find the starfish. Aw, it's kind of sad. I was kind of hoping they would actually find something. At the beach house, their somewhat late lunch was a light meal, easy on the stomach.
箸が進んでないけど、お腹いっぱい？
いえ、ちょっと疲れちゃったのかな。食欲がなくて。あ、よかったらハチスカさん食べてください。
岩場を探してみても一向に見つからなかった。あのもやし、さては使徒でアララを適正と見て測ったのかもしれない。
Oh, that's kind of creepy. She's whispering in my ear.
ちょっと聞いてみてもいいですか？
Oh boy. She laid down her chopsticks.
伝説の人手って本当にいると思います？
いるに決まっている。
ずいぶんきっぱり断言するんですね。
だってアララはすでに体験している。条件付きではあったが、人の願いを叶える奇跡を。
Okay. A wish-granting miracle. Soul link system. Indeed, the three of them had synchronized their hearts once before. That was why they came here. They were all over the place right now, though. One single desire had overlapped with another and leapt through space and time.
タイムリープか。私だけじゃなくて、ハチスカさんも藤崎さんだってやり直したいって思ったから、このままじゃ嫌だって思ったから、それじゃあ、もしも人手が願いを聞き届けてくれるとしたら、今だったら何を願いますか？
This is interesting.
それはもちろん世界統括。
She started to say it, then suddenly put the brakes on herself.
世界統括者の打倒ですか。触れませんね、あなたは。
She smiled a little. It was a forced smile. Her eyes, cheeks, and the depths of her heart all felt dull with pain.
ちょっとはその熱意を他人にも向けたらどうなんだろう。
Otter felt like she wasn't one to talk, though. Good, because he shouldn't.
そういうアルエさんは何を願う？
え？
またやり直し？
Fetch, she called it.
そんなわけないじゃないですか。
本当に逃げないでいられる？
That's the thing. They kind of understand each other in a weird way. Whoa.
もうやめましょう。
What was that? Like, what was that? Was that a picture of her, like, drawing manga? Like, was that what, like, her dream would be?
あ、この焼きそば、おいしい。
Arara, though, you can't ask a question like that and not be able to answer it too.
ほら、もう逃げた。今にして思えば、出会った時からアルエさんはそうだった。今だってアルエさんは何でもないような顔をして、アララの。
あらら、もどかしいのはわかるけど。
Unsettling. Putting aside Arara herself, was Arara also feeling unsettled? Arara couldn't comprehend it.
食欲なくなるくらい疲れてるなら、小色さんと休んでいればいいです。
She stood up.
あらら、 じゃあ私も一緒に。
一人でいいです。今までだってずっと一人だったんだから。
By the time she lifted her head, Arara had already left the building.
今まで一人だったって。
She had a flashback. Back to when Marisugawa Arara's world was still intact. Her solitude in her classroom. Her solitude behind the school building. Her solitude on the rooftop. Her days of solitude came back to her like a flashback. She synchronized with Arara's words and...
バカだな。
Yeah, you are. Dang.
一人ぼっちの世界にいたのは自分だけだって思ってた。そうだよね。あんな変わり者がぼっちだったって別におかしくないよね。ああ、コミュ障同士がこじれたらもうどうしようもないや。
To put it bluntly, this was a form of escape. Arara left Koiro and started aimlessly wandering the beach. The footprints she left in the sand were washed away by the waves. She felt a little cold. This was when the artificial sun started reducing its output. She toyed with the idea of returning to the lodge. In the end, she decided not to. Going back now to face them would only prolong that already lengthy battle. She wanted to avoid that, because she was scared. Terrified beyond belief. There was only one reason for it. She didn't have anywhere to run. She couldn't flee. The letter she was supposed to head over to Arara was back at the lodge. She had a feeling it might all go to waste. They only had one chance to finish their philosophy assignment. She was convinced it would all go to waste. She was trapped on all sides. With her relationship in shambles, drifting through the world as human debris. Likely because she was simply wandering around, driven by her desire to flee, the rocky outcropping she found seemed an acceptable substitute for a rooftop.
ここなら私にも登れそう。
She put her feet on it and climbed up. As she wasn't receiving a physical boost from a seal, it took all she had just to lift herself up. At the top, the border between the blue sky and the ocean lightened to a hue of the air itself was there to greet Arara. It felt similar to the rooftop, to Marisugawa Arara's world, where she'd once been torn apart. The wind was howling. Arara smiled drearily to herself, wishing she had brought something extra to wear. Stretching her limbs, she gazed out the white waves in the distance. She tried not to think about it. Her falling out with Arara, her falling out that seemed to dominate their relationship even after they regained a certain level of amicability. She tried to run. Arara tried to become a negative optimist, much like during her rooftop days. But she couldn't do it. She didn't have her sketchbook. Her best friend, Chika, no longer existed within her. She was alone. She felt the weight of her own solitude. She suddenly felt like crying, but held it back. The thought of giving in would mark her defeat. To make matters worse, her nose began to sting and her cheeks ached. Why? Why? Why?
うまくできないの。みんなが普通にしてること。どうしてうまくできないで一人ぼっちになっちゃうんだろう。
She could still hear the laughter from her classroom. It wasn't like they were pointing and making fun of her, or even paying any attention to her. It just felt like they were attacking her somehow. Arara even wished for them to get into a huge fight so their relationship would crumble. If everyone else was alone, she herself wouldn't feel lonely anymore. She wouldn't have to be the only one suffering from loneliness. She'd even thought of herself as a deviant for having those thoughts. She hugged her knees and closed her eyes. The boundary between the past and the present was growing fuzzy. Arara and the Marisugawa Arara that she had sealed away were beginning to fuse together. She was scared. Terror alone ruled her heart.
もう二度とあんな自分に戻るのだけは。
What was that?
私にはやりたいことだってまだいっぱい。
She muttered the kind of words you'd expect from someone on their deathbed. Maybe that picture is Chika, like the alternative self of hers that kind of maybe got out of control. She had to destroy. It was a confession made in a state of self-loathing that pulled on something in her heart. Something felt out of place. Things she wanted to do. In a world where the government decided what you had to do.
やりたいこと、私のやりたいこと。
Wow, is it really that foreign of a concept? She had already figured out what she had to do. The reparations to her family. How she put such a strain on her family's economic situation. And the fact that she disrupted her mother and brother's life plans. She only had one method of eliminating it. She had to obtain a high-level seal and save her family. That was why she participated in the room share. Even understanding all this, she still wasn't convinced. Was this her answer? Was this the life she wanted?
私のやりたいことって。
Doubt. The doubt she once rejected slipped through her mouth. That instant, several images flashed up through her mind. A stand light, a tracing table, a manuscript in the spotlight. Her blackened right hand, facing the table, Marisugawa Arara.
でもそれは。
An extension of her own selfishness. It was undeniably appealing to her, that much was certain. She couldn't see how it would lead to absolving her sins.
なのに、どうしてそのことばかり頭に浮かぶの？
Because your soul is screaming out.
どうしてそのことを考えると。
Because there's a poisonous gas that developed inside her. She wanted to roll around on the ground. She wanted to scratch herself all over. On the other hand, she also wanted to throw everything in one place and burn them all down. As a result, she simply froze in place.
寒いな。
She began to visibly shiver. The wind wasn't blowing, but the artificial sun was powering down. The arms wrapped around her legs were also getting cold. She felt her head going fuzzy. She somehow felt the oxygen levels getting thin. How? What?
そっか、そうだった、私。
Oh no, is she having one of her lung attacks? She felt herself weakening. Her sickness had been completely cured, but she didn't have a physical boost right now.
ロッチ、戻ろうかな。
She made her heavy body move. She tried to climb down, but her left leg felt heavy, as if something was pulling at it.
というか、ぬめっとした感触。
Starfish? She looked. A dismembered hand was firmly grasping her ankle. Fate. Yep, she's out. Red hood. The setting sun over the ocean dyes my heart crimson. Is that a girl collapsed over there? No helping it. Guess I'll carry her to the lifeguard. Red hood. Who's that? Intriguing. Let's finish this memory, and then I think we're going to stop. Marisugawa Arara's hospital room was built for 4 people. Only Marisugawa Arara needed a breathing apparatus. The other patients were in for liver, intestine, and even overall organ malfunctions. They explained that the reason they didn't send her to the children's ward was because there simply wasn't enough beds. They planned on transferring her there once some vacancies opened up. There were males among the patients as well, but they were all old men. There wasn't anyone she needed to be conscious about. This was the reason why she refused to change rooms through her entire hospitalization.
小児病棟って同じくらいの年の子がいて仲の良いグループとかがあるんだよね、きっと。
That was her reason. A week after being admitted to the hospital. Which means that your condition doesn't seem to be getting worse. There's no reason to worry about it. Do you have any questions? She silently shook her head. Doctor? Was there no way to prevent my daughter's illness? Was it a hereditary thing, or... It's difficult for me to say this, but the data from our tests on you seem to favor that conclusion. I see. It's as I thought then. Even so, the main issue lies with a weakness in the immune system, so we can't make any assumptions based on merely the respiratory systems symptoms, considering how she hasn't suffered from any major illnesses until now. I'd like to keep her here to monitor her progress for a while longer. I understand. Other than that, Arara, has there anything been troubling you lately? She remained silent for a while, then denied it by shaking her head horizontally. That was not the truth. She was lying. I see. That's good. Large amounts of stress tend to cause most every kind of disease, so try to relax while you're here. Some days later, she heard a conversation between her mother and her brother, Marisugawa Iis. Is that supposed to be? That's Elis. It's my fault that Hardy's. Don't be silly, Mom. Arara doesn't blame you either. The doctor said it's just a really bad cold, right? I'm sure she'll recover in a flash. I suppose you're right. This reminds me. Is everything alright with you? I'm fit as a fiddle. I even ran to the road relay just recently, remember? That's true, but if anything happens, please make sure that you let me know, okay? Fine, I will. Anyway, let's go see Arara. Wouldn't want to waste our visiting time, right? Arara's mother was tormented by her sense of responsibility. It wasn't hard for Marisugawa Arara to imagine her mother's fear that she would inherit her disease. After all, Arara tended to her every day. Her beloved mother was sad. She was troubled. For Arara, it was difficult to bear. But something was odd. For some reason, she felt no pain in the deepest layers of her heart. This fact. Marisugawa Arara had no idea that this would lend her the greatest regret. Her classmates came to visit her only once. They simply followed the instructions laid out in the class curriculum for a group-minded World People Federation Society. The class split up into two halves, first one coming in by giving her various words of encouragement, the second half coming to visit the next day offering the same socially acceptable phrases. There wasn't any kind of individual conversation. The boys who used to ridicule and mimic Marisugawa Arara even went so far as to say they'd never spoken to her before. Every single day they were having fun chatting with their friends. Every single day they were making the most of their youth. To them, the disaster that befell Marisugawa Arara seemed like a minor incident in their daily lives. She was an easily forgettable background decoration, nothing more. But right now... Right now... Release. She had obtained freedom. Her hospital room had nothing but silent patients. They too could only rely on their families. She wasn't alone. They were all the same. She focused on studying. Ari, I brought you some cream puffs. Her mother came by every day. Sometimes she came by still wearing her work clothes. Even if she was in the middle of studying, Marisugawa Arara would always welcome her. Are you studying again? Come now, I've been telling you not to push yourself so hard. She was not so much taking care of Arara, as she was being overprotective of her. Much like her mother, Arara's brother would also frequently drop by for a visit. I see you like studying again. Show me what section you're on. Her kind-hearted brother. Her successful brother. He had the seal for a prestigious local prep school. His future was secure. At the very least, he could become something like a government official. However, Arara couldn't simply leave that fate to the household to him alone. When progressing through the rest of Marisugawa Arara's memories, it is necessary to mention that she did harbor this sole pure thought. This is so we can preserve Marisugawa Arara's honor. Your mother is quite a beauty. Is she a foreigner?
お母さんのお父さんがお母さんのお母さんはジャパニーズで
so that means you're of a mixed blood. Okay, so they're not in Japan. Or are they? It's weird, because she says when he asked if she was mixed, which is funny that they're putting so much stock in that, but when he's asking, saying the answer is Japanese, that would be odd if it was typical, so we're not in Japan. So maybe this is in North Korea or something.
私
Or China, maybe.
はい。
I see. By the way, miss, would you like an orange? After a month, even her silent roommates came to make some mundane conversation with her. They were friendly enough and talked to her like she was their granddaughter. They would look away from the curtain separating their beds whenever she needed change, and despite the fact that they didn't have the strength to walk over to her bed, they still made an effort to do so. This wasn't bad. Arara didn't consider herself to be starved for conversation, but upon experiencing it, she enjoyed it quite a bit. When her mother came by, she'd allow herself to be spoiled by her. She did the same when her brother came to visit. Once she had opened up to her roommates, she started referring to them with affectionate nicknames. Talking to other people presented Arara with a joy previously unknown to her. In exchange, her studies soon began to suffer. The hospital room at night. In the midst of the familiar snores and painful breathing, inside the bed sheets pulled up over her head, she shone a lone source of artificial light. A manga book was visible in the light. It was a gift from her brother. She would read it every night without fail. After she finished reading through it, she would switch to copying it. They said hospital life was boring, but to Marisugawa Arara, it was filled with days of entertainment and happiness. She had spent almost half a year in the hospital now. She stopped copying manga and instead began to make her own. It was a slice of life story about some girl in a wind ensemble club. It functioned as her projection of her desires, seeing how she herself had never experienced any of those things. Then one day, yes, her symptoms appear to be stabilizing quite well. She seems to be in remission. She doesn't have as many episodes, and our medicine is proving to be more effective as well. We may consider discharging her and having her recuperate at home by next month at the earliest. That means she'll be able to go back to school. Only after we're positive that everything is fine. We should figure out what would be feasible to do once she's still coming here. Beads of cold sweat dripped down her forehead. Marisugawa Arara was now in a state of panic. There were two reasons for this. Firstly, the hospital fees. The Marisugawa household was barely able to get by with just the support of a single Chuusotsu woman. Arara first realized the cost involved with her hospitalization when she heard she would be discharged. The room, the medicine, just how much would it cost of half a year's worth? Neither her mother nor her brother breathed a single word about it. One encouraged her daughter, the other his sister, yet not once did they ever mention their finances. I thought this was a bit like more of a welfare state kind of situation, like a very socialist type situation, and yet they would still charge them medical. That seems very backwards. It's like one of the first things the governments tend to step up on when it comes to trying to take care of the general welfare of the public. And it's also one of those few that's like debatable even on the front where capitalism is very much desired approach for most things. But there's something to be said about supporting the medical needs of people because they're necessities, not luxuries, if that makes sense. Which was only natural. It didn't take much for Arara to imagine how dire a situation they must have been in. It might have been too late to receive governmental aid, too. As for the second reason behind her panic, it had to do with the dangerous state of her mother and brother's lives as a result of Arara's own condition. Even with all this going on, she still didn't want this life to end. If she went back to school, she'd have to go back to that life. She would. The individual known as Marisugawa Arara would cease to be an individual. She would become someone's background. Oh. Her very soul cried out. And with that, the fake and real souls of Marisugawa Arara had established a link. They made a claim. Her first claim since birth. Congratulations, Ari. The doctor says you can go back to school. Aren't you happy? Oh. Huh? But the doctor says you're okay now. Indeed. This was it. This was the beginning of Marisugawa Ara's truce, the whisper that lured her poor yet happy household into a sweet-scented hellscape. People called this dependency. That's what it was. That's the... Oh, look at the garbage bags. And cursed it as escapism. She just started to run away.
南越谷先生の新刊面白い
We also talked about how she's like a manga artist, but every time we see these pictures, she's just drawing the same picture over and over and over again. This is very disturbing. Ugh. That's also a little creepy the way it is, but we're going to leave it here, and we'll pick it up next week. Interesting. Well, this beach trip took a bit of a turn. Too bad, that would have made a fantastic thumbnail too, but I think we're going to stick with the beach one. But man, there's a lot going on in that little girl's mind. And interesting, like that is kind of her theme, isn't it? It's running away. And the funny thing is, I bet you a lot of us still run away from stuff too. I mean, we have different ways of running away, but maybe we should consider that. When do we flee? And what from? Interesting. But I'll leave these thoughts to you. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey to the beach. Beach episodes are always great, aren't they? Hopefully we can start seeing some resolution next time. Now that Arara is kind of becoming more in touch with herself and her tendency to sabotage her own relationships. Hopefully that won't be the case in the future. That she can find some kind of hope. But we will find out next time. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me. And until the next video, watch me or have to see me next. I'll see you there.